They went to Sunday school. They never came home. It was a quiet Sunday morning in a small American town. The sun peeked through the trees. Birds chirped. Children laughed as they ran down the streets. Skipping and carrying little bags of books and snacks, 50 kids, bright-eyed, full of life, trusting, innocent. The town's church was a stone building, old but welcoming. Families had been sending their children there for generations. It was a place of faith, a place of safety, or so they thought. Parents waved from the sidewalks. Teachers greeted the kids with smiles. Nothing seemed out of place, until the first scream. It was subtle. At first, a mother calling for her son. A teacher realizing one child was missing from the class. Then another panic started to spread. The first child had vanished without a trace. No footprints, no witnesses, nothing. The parents gathered outside the church. Voices trembled. What happened? Where is he? No one had answers. The town sheriff was called. He promised an immediate search. But the day dragged on. Hours passed. Still no child. Neighbors whispered. Fear gripped every heart. Something felt wrong, terribly wrong. By evening, the reality sank in. One child was gone. One life vanished. And no one knew why. But the nightmare didn't stop there. The next Sunday, another child didn't come home. And the one after that. Each disappearance more mysterious than the last. The town began to notice a pattern. A horrifying pattern. Children were disappearing. From Sunday school. From the very place they were supposed to be safe. The church, once a symbol of hope, now felt like a trap. A shadow had fallen over the town. Parents stopped sending their kids. Teachers cried behind closed doors. The sheriff called in state authorities. Investigators arrived. They searched every corner, every street, every house, but the children were gone. The town's innocence was slipping away, and no one knew who or what was behind it. The question hung in the air like a thick fog. Who could commit such a crime? And why? The answers would not come easily. But the truth was waiting, and when it did come, it would shock the world. If you're shocked by this story so far, hit that like button, comment your theory about what's happening, and don't forget to subscribe. You won't believe what happens next. They thought it was an accident, but then the children kept disappearing. The town was on edge. Whispers ran through every street, every home. Parents stared at doors, fearing what might come next. No one knew who to trust. The sheriff held press conferences. He promised results. He promised safety. But his words felt hollow. Another Sunday. Another empty seat in the classroom. Another child gone. And now panic spread like wildfire. Parents stopped sending their children to Sunday school. Some refused to let them leave their side at all. Teachers exchanged worried glances. Even the oldest families in town whispered about a curse. But there was no curse. Just something far more terrifying. Investigators pored over every clue. Every corner of the church. Every hallway. Every classroom. No sign of struggle. No fingerprints. No footprints. It was as if the children had vanished into thin air. Rumors began to circulate. Strangers had been seen near the church. Or was it someone the town knew? Someone trusted. Parents started noticing odd behaviors. The church janitor acting nervous. A teacher disappearing for hours without explanation. Even some neighbors acting strangely. Eyes darting, hushed conversations. Fear made people suspicious. Families turned against one another. Trust crumbled. Even lifelong friendships strained under the weight of suspicion. And then the unimaginable happened. A note appeared outside the church. Written in shaky handwriting, it said only, "You cannot stop what is coming." The town went into hysteria. The church doors were locked. Parents barricaded their homes, but the notes kept coming. Always warning, always cryptic. Detectives were called in from the state. They brought dogs, helicopters, and forensic teams. They interviewed everyone, every neighbor, every church worker, every family member, but each lead ended in frustration. Every clue turned into a dead end. Then the pattern became undeniable. 50 children, all gone. All from the same Sunday school. The town realized the horror was real. Not an accident, not a fluke. Something evil was targeting the children. Parents demanded answers. They marched to the sheriff's office. They pleaded, screamed, cried. The authorities promised action. But the fear was already embedded in every heart. Sleep became impossible. Parents took shifts guarding their homes. Some refused to eat. Some refused to leave their children alone for even a minute. And still, the disappearances continued. The town's once cheerful streets became silent. The laughter of children replaced by dread. The Sunday school, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison, a trap, and in the shadows, someone or something watched, waiting, patient, relentless. The town's innocence was gone. The nightmare had begun, and no one knew how or if it would end. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, smash that like button, comment your theory about who could be behind this, and subscribe. The next will reveal clues that will chill you to the bone. Every clue they found led to more questions. Every secret uncovered revealed more horror. The town was paralyzed with fear. Parents stopped leaving their homes. Even children stayed inside, too scared to play outside. The streets were eerily silent. Detectives scoured the church again. This time they were relentless. Every corner examined. Every classroom checked. Every hidden nook inspected. And then they found it. A small notebook, tattered, old, hidden beneath the floorboards of the Sunday school classroom. Its pages filled with cryptic notes, strange symbols, drawings of children. Some crossed out, some circled. It sent chills down everyone's spine. Who had written this, and why? Investigators discovered a pattern in the notebook. A sequence, dates, names. All of the missing children were listed. All of them. And the dates matched the disappearances perfectly. The town was horrified. This wasn't random. This was planned, calculated, deliberate. Whispers began to spread. Some claimed they saw a shadowy figure near the church late at night. Others said there were secret tunnels under the town. A hidden room somewhere only the criminal knew about. The detectives interviewed the staff again. Questions became accusations. Alibis were questioned. Some broke under the pressure. Some refused to talk. A chilling detail emerged. One of the church employees had a history. Strange incidents reported decades ago. Disappearing pets. Vanishing neighbors' children. Always unexplained. Always ignored. The town's fear became anger. Parents demanded answers. They wanted justice. They wanted their children back. Meanwhile, more clues surfaced. A witness remembered seeing a small red van near the church on the day of the first disappearance. Another claimed they saw a man carrying a large bag at dusk. But when the authorities investigated, nothing was found. It was like the criminal was always one step ahead, watching, planning, waiting. As the investigation continued, the notebook hinted at something worse. Some of the symbols weren't just names or dates. They were maps, symbols leading to places around the town, places no one dared go. Detectives followed the first map. It led them to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Inside, they found toys, children's clothes, small shoes lined up neatly. No children. The town realized the horrifying truth. This wasn't just a series of kidnappings. It was a carefully orchestrated nightmare. And the person behind it was closer than anyone had imagined. The question burned in every parent's mind. Who could be capable of such evil? And could they be stopped before more children vanished? The town's innocence was gone forever. Fear had taken root. And the shadowy figure behind the disappearances was still out there, patient, cunning, relentless. If this story has your heart racing, hit like, comment your theories about who might be behind this. And subscribe. The next uncovers the dark heart of this terrifying crime, and you won't want to miss it. The truth was darker than anyone could imagine. The town had been on edge for months. Every parent, every child, every teacher lived in constant fear. No one knew who to trust. No one felt safe. Detectives had uncovered the notebook, the maps, the strange symbols. They had followed leads to abandoned warehouses, to empty fields, to hidden basements. Each discovery revealed more horror, but no children. Then came the first break. A local janitor, quiet and unassuming, suddenly disappeared for 3 days. When he returned, he seemed different, cold, distant, avoiding questions, avoiding everyone. Investigators started digging into his past. What they found chilled them to the bone. Records of other towns, disappearances, unsolved cases, all involving children. all with the same patterns, all with one connection: him. The janitor had always been close to the church, trusted by parents, friendly with children. But behind that friendly face lay darkness. Detectives searched his home, and there it was, a hidden basement, locked heavy and silent inside. The unimaginable, toys scattered across the floor, small beds still arranged neatly, drawings pinned to the walls, all made by children, all unlabeled, and then photographs, pictures of children, some missing from the town, some from years earlier, all smiling, all unaware of the fate awaiting them. The town's horror reached a new peak. The church, the symbol of safety and faith, had been the perfect cover. The janitor had used the trust of the town to lure the children. And for years, no one suspected a thing. Investigators dug deeper. They found documents, maps of secret routes through the town, diagrams of hidden rooms, schedules of Sunday school classes, everything meticulously planned. Every disappearance calculated, every family's trust exploited. The town was outraged. Parents gathered outside the church, demanding justice. They had given their children to the hands of evil, unknowingly. But even with all this evidence, not all children were found. Some were gone forever, and the ones they did find, traumatized, silent, shattered. The janitor was arrested. The town breathed a tentative sigh of relief. But the shadow of his crimes lingered. The trust broken could never be restored. The town learned a horrifying lesson. Evil sometimes wears the face of innocence. It hides in plain sight, and the consequences can last a lifetime. The church doors remained closed for months. Parents rebuilt fences. They watched, they guarded, they feared, and the town would never forget. If this story sent chills down your spine, hit like, comment what shocked you the most, and subscribe. The next reveals the investigation's final shocking discoveries and the aftermath that left the town forever changed. Every lead brought more horror, every discovery deeper darkness. The town was still reeling from what had been uncovered. The janitor was behind it all, but investigators weren't finished. There were still missing children, still questions unanswered. And the deeper they dug, the more twisted the truth became. Detectives revisited every clue. The notebook, the hidden maps, the cryptic symbols. They discovered one thing that chilled them the most. The janitor hadn't acted alone. Someone had helped him. Someone who knew the town, the families, and the church. Every witness was re-interviewed. Every detail cross-checked. Neighbors remembered seeing strangers lingering near the church. Strangers who didn't belong. But their identities were never traced. Then came the shocking break. A witness, a former employee of the church, came forward. They described a series of secret meetings at night. The janitor wasn't alone. He had been meeting someone in the shadows. Someone no one expected. The detectives followed the lead. It took them to an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. Inside, evidence of even more sinister acts. Drawings, photographs, and items belonging to children no one had seen for years. The realization hit the town like a thunderbolt. The scale of the crime was unimaginable. The disappearances weren't random. They were orchestrated with chilling precision. And the full truth was worse than anyone dared imagine. Authorities dug into old files, reports of missing children from decades past. Reports dismissed as accidents or misadventures, but patterns emerged. The same handwriting, the same symbols, the same methods. It became clear the janitor had been active for years, and now investigators feared there were still children missing, still alive, still in danger. Parents could hardly sleep. Some kept their children in bed, clinging to them through the night. Teachers watched the classrooms empty, haunted by what had happened. The town's innocence had been stolen piece by piece. The detectives organized raids. They searched every abandoned building, every hidden basement, and slowly horrifying evidence emerged. Rooms where children had been kept, beds small and bare, drawings, toys, and personal items scattered around. Some children were found alive, but traumatized, silent, shaking, afraid of anyone in authority. Others were never found. The town mourned. Grief and horror combined, leaving families broken. Trust in the church shattered. Trust in the community fractured, and still, questions remained. Who had helped him? How many children had truly been taken? Could the others be saved? The investigation had unearthed only part of the darkness, and the final shocking revelations were yet to come. If this story has you on edge, hit like, comment what you think might happen next, and subscribe. The next will reveal the final horrifying truth and the aftermath that changed the town forever. The face of evil was closer than anyone had imagined. The town had been on edge for months. Fear had seeped into every home, every street, every heart. Parents clutched their children. Teachers avoided the hallways, and detectives pressed on, determined to uncover the full truth. Then came the breakthrough. Investigators uncovered hidden journals in the janitor's home. Diaries filled with meticulous notes, plans, schedules, lists, every disappearance documented, every child accounted for, and the most terrifying discovery: he had not acted alone. A second name appeared repeatedly. A person trusted by the town. Someone with access to the church. Someone who knew the routines of the children and their families. The town gasped when the second perpetrator was revealed. It was the Sunday school teacher. A figure everyone had trusted. A smiling face in the classroom. The one who greeted children with warmth and kindness. She had been aiding the janitor, obeying his instructions, helping him select children, keeping track of who came and went. The motives were twisted and chilling. The janitor had an obsession with control. He believed he was protecting children from the world. His accomplice shared his delusions. Together, they had built a secret world hidden from the town. A world where innocence was trapped, manipulated, and stolen. Investigators found a hidden room in the church basement. Small beds lined the walls, toys and drawings arranged with precision. It was the center of their operation, the culmination of months, no years of evil. The town's horror reached a peak. Parents confronted the perpetrators. Tears, anger, disbelief. How could they have been so close? And so evil? The janitor and his accomplice were arrested. The church was shut down. Counselors and authorities worked to help the traumatized children. Some were returned to their families. Others would carry scars forever. The town learned a terrible truth. Evil can hide behind trust. It can wear a friendly face. And even in a place of faith, darkness can dwell. But justice had finally been served. The perpetrators were behind bars. The nightmare had ended, yet the fear lingered. The memories of lost innocence haunted the streets. And the town would never be the same. If this part shocked you, hit like, comment which revelation stunned you the most, and subscribe. The final reveals the aftermath and how the town struggled to heal from the most evil crime in its history. A town changed forever, and a warning for us all. The arrests had been made. The perpetrators were behind bars. The nightmare, in a sense, was over. But the town was not the same. Parents walked the streets with weary eyes. Teachers avoided the classrooms they once loved. Children returned home, but their laughter was quieter. Shadows lingered in every corner. Counselors worked tirelessly. Families tried to rebuild. The church doors remained closed, a constant reminder of the evil that had hidden behind trust. The town held memorials. Candles flickered for those who were never found. Flowers covered empty swings. The pain of absence hung heavy in the air. Life continued, but not as it once had. The sense of safety, the innocence of small-town life had vanished. Every Sunday, parents whispered prayers, not just for their children, but for the town itself. The survivors carried scars. Some children struggled to speak. Some couldn't sleep at night. The memories of the dark basement, the small beds, the toys, haunted them for years. The town learned harsh lessons. Evil doesn't always look like evil. It can smile. It can be trusted. It can hide in the most sacred places, but even in the shadow there was hope. Families rebuilt bonds. Communities came together. Vigilance replaced innocence, but strength replaced fear. The town eventually healed. Slowly, children played again. Laughter returned, though tinged with caution. The scars remained, but so did resilience, and the story of the 50 children. The ones who never came home from Sunday school served as a warning: trust wisely, protect fiercely. And remember, darkness can hide anywhere, even in a place of faith. The town survived. But it would never forget. The shadows of that evil lingered, a reminder of what can happen when trust is betrayed. If this story shook you to your core, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more chilling true crime stories that reveal the darkest corners of human nature.